Okay, so
We on? Okay. Islam, Islam, Islam. Almighty, almighty, almighty. We rise in our perfect praise to Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father seen, unseen, known and unknown, giving all honors due to Allah in the person of our holy prophet, Jerome, crossing that how to rise desert. Space and time. Seeking refuge in Allah from our lower self, our carnal self, the body desire, reflection of higher self, totally by the murky through the flesh. And also from the descendants of Adam and Eve, losing Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. For all they lose, murder, theft, and everything that harms. But especially from the subliminal hypnotic suggestion of their language, their culture, their way of life, the day-to-day realities that we face, that is nothing but illusion. I give all hail to everything that's God being righteous, almighty, almighty. Islam. Anyway, we're thinking about a topic for tonight. And I think one of the topics that we have to deal with as morals is the difference between Moorish science and Islamism. Because you hear a whole lot about Moorish science. You hear very little about Islamism. You hear a lot of people talking about the ancient Egyptian hip-hop, who got high on stuff, but you hear very little about the faith of Muhammad that we established in America. I want y'all to notice that. No, get your questionnaire out. And I want to show y'all that as long as I've been reading the prophet's literature, his questionnaire, I've yet to see where it says to appoint a consecrated missionary of the prophet to establish more science in America. Now, back to my questionnaire, don't say, look, back to questionnaire, my questionnaire don't say that. I can show it to you. Okay. All right, there you go. Now, the back of the questionnaire don't say that, but it says whether we will establish the faith of Muhammad in America. What is the faith of Muhammad? And what is the difference between the faith of Muhammad and your Moorish science? If the truth be told, what is the difference? Because your Moorish science has now let you have Moorish states. For example, you got Canterbury talking about he's not a temple, but he's the Moorish Republic. You got another brother, he's Moorish Republic. You got another brother, he's talking about the Moorish Democratic Republic and all these other things. And then you got all these brothers talking about, yes, you know, I'm a civic master and I master the civics. And I can drive without license. What I need with you Moors telling me I got to join the temple. What I need to, I free myself from one slaveholder. I'm going to another. And I'm like, more scientists. Seldom do you hear and see a follow-up on being Islam. I mean, Moors all across the country. I didn't know they're Moors. Brother run up to me, I was in New York, he jumped off the bus when he seen me. I looked, I know, I had to take a defensive pose. I had to stop. Whoop, brother, what? Hold. What you want? Well, I'm Mo such, I'm Noble such and such. You said something, I said, and I said that then, I haven't changed my mind. What's the difference? Now you see. Well, you know, y'all teaching everything but the prophet stuff. Some of y'all went so far, you got all types of Egyptian badges, colors. You run all the way back. What happened to Islam? I'm going to show y'all this picture. And And I wonder how many of y'all, these so-called Egyptologists and super duper guys, you know, that can explain what this really is. I know I got the pictures somewhere. I thought I still had it. And you know, brothers put all these type of pictures on the internet. They put all types of pictures, Egyptian this, Egyptian that. Can't speak damn Egyptian, and none of them can build the pyramid. They stuff is just as good as the Masonic order. The Masons here first, and you still ain't free. But yet, y'all see running back and forth, join the Masonic order, like it's gonna save you. Y'all go with hickory dickory dock, Zodiac, it ain't saved you. You want to argue and fight the police, that ain't saved you. Get you killed, but it ain't saved you. That's one picture, that's not it. Ain't none of this Egyptian science and stuff gonna save you. People writing new books and putting their name on it as though it's a prophet. We have actually, rather y'all have actually stopped following the prophet and followed the mere idea of man. But y'all comfortable with the mere idea of man. Because somehow you can squeeze yourself into that idea. You know, those that follow reincarnated prophets, some of them want to be reincarnated. I listened to one more, he told me, yes, you know, the ancestors, and my ancestors, you got to wait for your ancestors. And I'm like, this guy don't believe in reincarnation. He don't follow the prophet's teaching. I thought I had it up here. And I just like, wow, I know it is. I'm like, man, is this it? Why is it that y'all more comfortable with other people teaching than you are about your prophet? That becomes a question. Why are you more comfortable with the teachings of somebody else? Show that picture there. I want y'all to see this picture. Bring it down center. You have to get closer so you can, all right, straighten it out. They can't see it. You have to go around it more. Oh, they can't see it from me like that. Okay, there you go. Don't touch it.
Going
just
down.
made it smaller. Let me make it larger. So I want them to be able to see it. So there you go. Bend it down so the color can come on. I mean, where the light won't shine on. You got a light on.
Yeah.
Nope. Bring it up. All right, now.
Here.
Now you can see. There you go. Put your hand. There you go. Block it. You had it at one time.
Okay.
Okay. No. Pull it back some. See if you can pull it back some better. Can you see it? Raise it up. Okay. Now. Tilt it towards the camera.
Mm-hmm.
All right, untilt it. Let's try to untilt it. Okay, now put your hand on it. I touch the screen. Let's see if that works. All right, shrink the screen. Like that, shrink it. Okay, y'all can't see that. You had it at first. Here you go. Let me do it one more time. Do it this way.
Let me see. Real quick.
Okay. Well, I don't need the brother's name. I just need this here picture. Look, see if you can see it now. See what you're doing. Turn it the other way. Try to turn it. Lean it so the light. That's what it is. The light like this.
About the best I can get.
Huh? There you go. There you go. Right there. There it is. Now y'all see it? Okay, now come on. Go ask your teachers what that means. What's being shown there? You know, most of y'all never understood when I talked 30, 40 years ago that everything you got, pardon me, that you say is Egyptian, you got from a European. You got from a European who interpreted the rosary stone, the Greek of the rosary stone, that's what you got. And because you got that, now y'all into etymology. Now, E starts with E, right? So the Greek interpretation of what the Egyptians said and taught them, right?
So that's a European interpretation.
Yeah, you back to European interpretation. You know, I got a whole tape on about Bylaws, who wrote the Egyptian Book of the Dead, who's one of the leading Egyptian scholars. And ain't no brother, Dr. Clark, Dr. Ben, ain't none of them went over to Egypt and dug a hole. Ain't none of them went to Egypt, dug a hole and come up with something. None of them. They got all theirs like you get yours through the Masonic order. Because all of them were Masons. Doesn't mean they weren't wise men. Doesn't mean they weren't wise enough to use what they learned for the benefit of their people. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, but they ain't dug a hole. They got the same second and third hand knowledge you got. You know, all y'all was jumping up when Minister Farrakhan was talking about the Mason. I'm gonna tell this to you, that's it. Kind of find out he a top Mason.
It's fishy.
Y'all too easily fooled. But anyway, let us get on this. What is more science? Let me see. Because I was looking up on the phone and I was shocked to see they got a thing about more science on here. I was like, wow. You know. Let me go to Google. And it says, let me say, Moorish science. Moorish science, Timothy Drew, known to its members as Prophet Noble Joy, founded Moorish Scientific America in 1913 in Newark, New Jersey, booming industrial city after some difficulties. Okay, let's see. What do Moors believe? Do Moors believe God? That ain't what I'm looking for. Okay. FBI file, Moorish citizens. Now, I want y'all to take notice that when they tell y'all about something, Moorish citizens, look what they show you. Show that, man. Look what they show you.
Let me know.
This fake empress. Hold on. Senator, you need to get the camera. I'm going to show something else. Every time they show something that y'all are adhering to, it also shows the person that's in charge of that idea. Mystery of the Moorish Science Temple. Moorish Science spin-off groups, both federal and state. Ooh. FBI records, let me see. Moorish Council. I got your picture up here.
I'm a Moorish counselor.
Not a Moorish counselor. Moorish scientists struggle. Check how they hook this stuff up.
Struggle with a tainted reputation even before
Put it up there, Mo. Show them where you can see it. Bring it down some. Bring the camera down some. There you go. It's perfect. It's perfect right there. You just messed it up. There you go, right there. Even got the governor up there. What did it say over your caption?
Moorish scientists struggle with tainted reputation even before Baton Rouge.
Ah. Yeah, one more. Now, the thing that gets me is let's find out the word scientist. What is a scientist? Scientist. Okay, it says scientist, a person who is studying or has expert knowledge of one or more of the natural or physical sciences. So that means this person must be an expert and possess knowledge on the natural and unnatural science. Scientist, a scientist is a person who conducts scientific research to advance knowledge in an area of interest. Is classical antique. There was no real ancient analog of modern scientists. Instead, philosophers engaged in a philosophy study of nature called natural philosophy, a precursor of natural science. Okay, let's look at what is Islam. Like you getting to see. Now, I'm going to give you this again so you can show it to them. What is Islamism? Okay. Islamism, Islamic militancy or fundamentalism. Now,
Good.
okay, raise it up. Let's see what else it says. What else it says? Raise it up some more. Hit that thing. Okay, now, hand me the dictionary from up there. Now, they say Islamism is Islamic militancy or fundamentalism. Now, how you look at it? Just show me the dictionary. First, I'm let you see this dictionary, how we study here. Turn around. So this is probably like your whole collection of books in your house. How thick this is. All right, some of that one. I'm finna have a Mo look up the word Islamism in this dictionary. Now think about that. What is the difference between a Moorish scientist and a Moorish Muslim? Because a Moorish Muslim practices Islamism. A Moorish scientist is allegedly finding some type of field or endeavor he can master of his interests. Here it is right there. Right there. He's going to read it to you.
Islamism. Noun. The religion, doctrines, customs, etc. of Islam.
Okay. That's out this dictionary. What year is that dictionary?
Copyrighted 1958. First edition was 1940. Each year they improved it.
Yeah. Okay, that's not bad. So now this here goes actually with the definition from 1925 through 1936 about Islamism, that it meant what the Mo just read out the dictionary. Now, this goes along with the back of the questionnaire. Islamism is the doctrine and teachings of Muslims or believers, and it follows it right there. To appoint and consecrate missionaries of the Prophet and to establish the faith of Muhammad in America. So, what is the faith of Muhammad versus your Islamism? Your Islamism, you wear colorful clothes, all decked out. I was dealing with this brother, and he putting up stuff by Kirkman Bay. And he said Kirkman Bay was never there, made by the Prophet. And I had to let him know, you wrong. He was made there, but he wasn't a sheep. He wasn't a sheep. And in my book, the controversy is, I repeat this and I tell you what was said about him by the Prophet, how he got to be with the Prophet. Because he wasn't always with the Prophet. He was with Temple number 9. He was over there with Sister Whitehead Bay, the governor, and brother. What's that brother's name? Doveville, brother R. Doveville. So I agree with the brother. He wasn't the sheep, but he wasn't there. Because he couldn't be in the Prophet business without being there. I guess he didn't figure that out. Then the Prophet violated his own law. But scientists, every time I turn around, you science or something, but you don't find that nowhere in the Prophet's teaching. Oh, so what you did was, like the brother told me, you can look at the Quran or the more scientific brother, you can find the word copyright. You look on page such and such, this is copy. On page such and such, this is right. Said the Prophet did it in science. That was over 30 years ago, brother. I said, brother, why are you so stupid? I can make a whole lot of stuff up that way. The word copy over here and write over there. So the question becomes, with your leaders, what are they teaching you? What are you actually learning from those people who you're following? The youth was telling me, well, brother, y'all ain't did nothing for us. Y'all ain't left us nothing. And woo. I said, brother, it's not we ain't left you nothing. You ain't listening to nothing. Satan is raising you. Just like Satan raised us. Look at all the gangster movies. You think all the gangsters came in the ghetto because we wanted to be Don Juan and them? Everything that European put in his media was geared to catch some of us in something. Those of y'all that's well educated, the Prophet said you go to school, you're still a dummy. He said the more you learn, the more you can jump to the hoop. The less you learn, the more rebellious you are. Now check it. The less you learn, the more rebellious you are. The less you learn, the more rebellious you are. This is a generation of rebellious children because they hardly know nothing. And who's they teaching? They teaching themselves. Why? Because the parents, the time between my parents, me parenting, and them being parented is a great leaps and bounds. We had tools when I was coming up. We had extension cords, hangers, sticks, baseball bats. Anything mama could put their hand on was a tool of success, was a tool of the workshop of the mind to get us right. Now your children can chase you out the house. Now you got to get permission from your children to take their phone that you're paying for from. The less you discipline them, the more demanding and rebellious they have gotten. Do y'all actually think that this wave of the MBCA people, the alphabet community, just popped up? They got more rights than we got, and we was the ones here in slavery. The sisters have shown us, listen, the so-called sisters, y'all might call them the black woman, the African, or the goddess. Why do you think she's willing to accept these titles so great, so quickly? Because she's been programmed to, in the language, in the culture. She can't be a queen. You never seen a queen run around fake eyebrows with the breasts hanging all out. You ain't what queen? Go back to Africa. You don't see them queens dressed naked, hanging their breasts out, dyeing their hair blue and blonde. So what queen are you imitating? Brothers run around with their pants all hanging down below their butt. And you accepting them. Then you wonder how come they ain't taking care of your children. There's a generation of females that think you get a man, you can make him what you want. Who gave the God idea? Sister married a man, he a police officer, they're scared for him, want him to quit his job. I'm so scared. But you know, as a police officer, when I met you, now all of a sudden, well, I couldn't tell you then, because I'd have lost you. Rap music all in your house. Have you stopped and looked at you in the house with your child? You got to talk loud over y'all music, not just his music, but your music. Sisters got their son babysitting. She out there getting pregnant every year, every other year, every third year, and guess who got to babysit? Her son. His whole manhood is being deflated and tackled, and she's calling him all types of punks and faggots, calling him that. But other brothers turn around and give him title. I want you to be the grand sheikess, the duchess, the supreme uno. If the truth be told, Prophet Noble Jali never brought us more science. Where you get your more science from is from a corrupt person by the name of C.M. Bay. C.M. Bay introduced into the Prophet's Temple more science. And the tag he added to it was, he condemned his own religion of Islamism. That's what y'all doing. Y'all don't want to pray. You know, the prophet say, hold me up, and I draw all men unto me. Now, if you look at the more scientific America today, y'all made it where it's nothing. Y'all reduced the MST of 8 to nothing. To nothing. Because now anybody can say that they're head of the more scientific America. Anybody can say they're the supreme grand sheep. Anybody can say this today. And if you ask their members, well, why you call him supreme grand sheep? Oh, that's what he is. He's our supreme grand sheep. But what has he done? What records has he established? Woo! What records have he broken? What has he done to advance your thinking? All he's done is allowed you to form your temple, do whatever you want to do in your temple, as long as you call him King Dean. Let's look at this. We're discussing here this week about the divine constitution and bylaws. Now, all y'all out there in TV land listening, what is actually the divine constitution and bylaws? What are they? I was in Chicago back in 2005 at Bell Hill House, and we were debating there, and I asked him, I said, brother, what are the rules and regulations that the prophet talked about? What is divine? No, it's not the divine constitution and bylaws, brother. A rule is a statement of factual action. A regulation shows you how to go from point A to point B. And I asked one simple question. I said, y'all, because I'm arguing with a couple of people that y'all now call Supreme this or Grand that in Chicago at the time. So I asked them this simple question. Show me the divine constitution and bylaw, how you go from being a foot soldier, a file member, to becoming a grand chief. I said, show me that process. What do you have to be? They just looked at me. The prophet said this, imitate I your prophet. How many of y'all know what that really means? How do you go about imitate I the prophet? The prophet said in Moorish literature that you have, the prophet announced his power and authority. The prophets, all rules and regulations shall be in writing. What are rules and regulations in writing there? Now, the people I know was closest to that at one time was the 34 group under All of Here, because they had a rules and regulation manual. 1934 book. And the 1934 book, from Article 14 to 21, it actually overthrows the prophet, because it says the highest office in the Moorish Scientific American is not a Supreme Grand Moderating Advisor, which means the prophet's temple, which is headed by the Supreme Grand Chief, is now done away with. I said, y'all don't see that? Also, there's no voting in the Moorish Scientific American. So when they changed the dynamics of the structure of the Moorish Scientific American from the constitutional standard that the prophet said is no longer the Moorish Scientific American. Now, you no longer, y'all still talking about y'all are moving. We're no longer moving. As October 16, 1928, the prophet wrapped the flag around Sister Grace, the Moorish flag, wrapped the American flag around Brother McAfee Morrison, and said, kissed him on the forehead, raised up his arms outstretched and said, now hereby declare your nation. So why y'all still talking about a movement? A movement means you ain't got there yet. You don't see no Zionist movement no more because they got what they wanted. Now, let's just get into that. What are the rules and regulations written there? Now, a lot of y'all didn't understand that. The prophet said, all my rules and regulations shall be in writing. And they are in writing. If you're a student of the prophet. Let me just show you how you go from member to adept. The prophet in the letter, and the first Supreme Grand Sheikh in the letter said that you are to teach everyone. So those that come in the temple, you are to teach them. And if they don't give you no problem, no issues, that they're entitled to another card in due time. So it's very simple how to become adept. Study up now the prophet. Now check what the prophet told me to do. He said, study up now my rules, my regulations. Make yourself perfect all subject matter that you might act intelligent along all Moorish procedures, lines of Moorish procedures. So now, before you become a citizen in any government, you got to learn their rules and regulations. You got to learn their constitution. You got to be somewhat familiar with the language. Why is this? Because all governments collectively are those people. That's what we the people mean. That your elected officials represent your collective. They represent the reality of your collective. They represent what all y'all think. Here you go. The prophet said, every nation on earth see Allah, not alike. Think what the prophet said. Every nation see Allah, but not alike. It doesn't say every individual in the nation see Allah. It says every nation. Nation is collective idea. It's where people gather themselves together into a form that sooner or later become legal or illegal. And when they gather to that form, they collectively have agreed this is how government shall run. This shall be our names. This shall be our principles. This shall be our recourse of action. And to ensure these rights, we created a police department and an army. United States said we're giving up religious freedom. So they broke out their bag and say, now we also added in our form of government religious freedom. Then they gave to the news medias, the churches, the right to speak out on anything. Then they gave you also the right to bear arms in order to protect that which you now part of. I remember his old song, he used to say, it's not what you look like when you're doing what you're doing, what you're doing when you look like what you're doing. Express yourself. That's how governments are formed. Show you a prime example of that. The United States was formed out of English-speaking people. Think about that. It was more than the British government here in these colonies. Some of these colonies were French colonies. Some of these colonies were Dutch colonies. But only the English-speaking people, they had something in common. What they have in common? They had birthright in common. That birthright came from Europe, from the queen, from the king. So they was able to gather themselves in a form because of their mutual obligations and customs and ideas. They was able to form the United States based on the English-speaking grammar, ideas, etc. Even if you expound or went a little bit further upon those ideas, etc., you still kept in the bounds of moderation because you're saying that you're from Europe. Later on, 1854 to 60, they created the term white man. Europe didn't have no white man. Over there now, you're European. Only in America, you're a white man or some other racist colony, anything outside those colonies. I knew a Polak. This man here, he said, he used to tell us, I'm not a white man, I'm Polish. And he had the whole breakdown. He's from Poland. Him and his compatriots. Now, when you have a collective, that means every state or tribe in that nation have agreed to go a certain way. So when the top dogs, the king, say, hey, we get in this building, we need rent money, etc. Everybody then, the natural resources, which is the people, come together, provide that fund to make sure that's covered. This is a fact. Now, collectively, in the Moorish scientific America, you go to one temple, it's doing something different than the other temple. They teach you something totally different. It's not even a manuscript of unity. Not even a manuscript. One man running off his mouth and all this stuff on the internet about the doomed nation, bearing of a nation. And brother would talk to me. I said, okay, brother. Brother right here, you got chased out of Chicago. I said, well, brother, who chased you? He named some funny character. They had to name the funny character. I said, I got a letter from the chief on that. So what you got to say? You got a letter from the chief? I said, yes, sir. And before I left Chicago, Eugene Harris, brother Ibrahim, Chief Ibrahim, King Ibrahim, he was at my house making Karachi with a brother by the name of William Darby. When I get chased out of Chicago and I'm still running around these people, I up to move because I got another case. That's why I moved, y'all. And I just beat that case. I said, I'm tired of getting cases. I'm going to California. I'm going on Soul Train. That's why I left. But you more scientists, Come with any reason but the right reason. And the fact you got to lie on me to present something shows the weakness of your character, the flaws in your character, and how desperate you are trying to hang on to your fake reality. I've been asking people for the last 40 years, who's your leader? Why you vote that man back in office? What has he done to make you know that you voted for him is assured? I happened to watch a video. I watched a video of Sister Doris Dunbar. This same sister said European can be a Moor. I got the letter. She sent this to the chaplain and to the brother in prison and told him, yes, I said that he's Italian, but Italian are white people, but you got to let him in the temple if he want to join. The National Assistant Secretary or something like that, chairman, something like that. And I'm like, don't nobody study the prophet anymore? I remember it being 1000 Horn Street with the Moorish Scientist Women's, and they was explaining why a European could be a member of the Moorish Scientist of America. Because this European, he came there. Most of y'all know about him. Asari, I think it's Ahari Muhammad. He went down to 3810. He tricked them out of nationality card because he said his people was Indians. He's going to college at Northwest Southwest University in Chicago off of Sheridan Road. I seen his paperwork. He said European. But y'all gave him nationality card and stuff. And then on Horn Street, I was sitting up there. This is 82, 83. And we was talking. And they were defending why this European can get a card. And George Cookbay, Booker Bay was sitting with us in the living room. And what got me was they all said, the prophet said, you cannot give a European a nationality card. Now they all said the prophet said. Mm-hmm. Sister, Queen Sheba, Bruce Bay said, and the other sister, I don't care what you say. You can be a European can be a Moor. One drop of black blood makes you a Moor. Makes you Asian. I said, sister, who do you get the blood from? Huh? I said, according to biology, sperm is alive and the egg is dead. Ain't no blood in the egg in your ovum. It's not alive. That's why every 28 days it's washed away. You don't see sperms being washed away every 28 days. I don't care what y'all say. I'll just say, even in the face of truth, divine truth, because George Cookbay was sent out by the prophet, commissioned by him to establish temple. And his establishing the temple, he told them what they could not do. He told who could join, who couldn't join. Homosexuals couldn't join. They could come to services and repent from the evil ways. But now, Islamism is out and science in its hand. If you can think of it and change it, it's all right. Because more than likely, the person that you're saying this idea you got is already off the path too. They're already doing something under the cut. When brothers join the temple in the prison, they don't join the chain. They join like it's a game. I've been there, I've seen it. When you join the Nation of Islam, you got to march, counter march. You got to carry it a certain way. In the prison, you can still be the same blind thief. You hit the streets, you back with your buddy doing the same thing, but now y'all under the skies of being Moorish. Feed the public in the daytime, kill them at night. Moors don't even sound good singing like Christians. I mean, it's not Moor sing. Marching to the Mecca. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look at all those people over there in green. These must be the people that true Ali redeemed. I mean, and they got no spin with them, no nothing. And then if you do get in the spirit with them, one temple trying to outsee another temple. When we was up there, we went to the Sister Auxiliary in 2006. They were trying to outdo each other. Competition is good, but not when you had a public meeting. There was nobody there to tell them, "No, y'all out of law." But what is law to an outlaw group? If you can do it and get away with it, that's it. I was reading a letter by Meet Leah. Meet Leah was saying they want to govern the temple by the principles of Christianity and make it a republic where everyone has the right to vote. Voting is all right if what you're voting for is right. But you can be ever so wrong. And because the people are with you, your wrong is not right. Because they like you. In 92, I was sitting in a convention and I asked this question. I said, let me ask y'all. Y'all always keep bugging me about this Kirkman Bay stuff. Because they didn't like I was talking about the Colonel. I said, y'all tell me what happened to Cuba. What happened to Cuba? I asked the love on that in the middle of the meeting. I said, y'all always talking about what went on in Cuba, but y'all don't know. Why don't y'all know what went on in Cuba? Why did that man have 2 guns in a federal badge, but y'all don't know what went on in Cuba? What type of stuff is that? You followed a man to say he's there with your prophet. Your prophet had to go there for some particular reason of importance. The prophet went to Cuba. But y'all don't know why. Because the guy with him didn't tell you, but suddenly he got a federal badge and 2 pistols. And brothers in Jordan wasn't allowed in Hoover time to actually become agents until 1972. Or they paid anybody to turn stool pigeon on them. But there was no official people working except for janitors of the I think it's 72. Hoover took over in 1929. That's why we know when he's saying we can't let another prophet rise from him. Who is he calling a prophet? Because it wasn't Martin Luther King. Because that's a self-made prophet. A prophet is from God. Prophets don't go talk to the devil about his stuff. The prophet goes to the devil and says, let my people go. He don't join them and say, I'm with you. King said, I thought I did the wrong thing. I'm bringing y'all to the house on fire. Prophets don't do that. They take you out because they smell the fire. They see the fire. So he wasn't a prophet. So y'all can stop saying that. Mr. C.M. Bay was not an adept nor a sheep. Prophet never made him none of that. Go look in your oil statements. When you get to the altar, I think it might be 51, where it says, you got your oil statements, where it says the prophet came and asked the people who all believed in this man. And they raised their hand, and the prophet's out to kill all y'all. The guy knew witchcraft. Huh? Oh, that's Keith. No, that's question 63. The Holy Prophet asked the Moors, how many of you can do something? He was inquiring as to how many of them could work magic, etc. Some of the Moors said the prophet pointed his finger at them and said, I'm going to kill you all. When a prophet speaks, that is a message from Allah. The prophet Muhammad said, the sorcerer will not enter paradise. So, now, what happened? During the time of the prophet, they had chamber meetings where a person could talk to, but you see it all through the Moorish guide, such and says ask the prophet about this, such and says ask the prophet, and they had a chamber meeting. So during convention time, the prophet had chamber meetings. And you already been hearing this stuff coming out of Temple number 7 about this guy that was challenging the prophet's teachings in some form or another. So the prophet met with him. And they was in the chamber talking. And then the prophet stopped it and went out and looked at the Moors in the public and asked them, so you all believe in what this man is teaching? They raised their hands out to kill all of y'all. That was the original thing stated to love ill. So I talked to some of the people named Booker Bay and them was there. You see Booker Bay name all that. Me and Booker Bay was cool in the game. If the truth be told, why aren't y'all studying the prophet's teaching? I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with studying Egyptian, Kemetic, whatever you want to call it, science. But you should have mastered the prophet stuff so you can see whether or not what you have over here with the etymology and all this other funny stuff, whether it fits in what the prophet got. If it don't fit what the prophet got, leave it alone. Etymology, sister talking about, Shirley Jackson Bay now talking about etymology, queen means hoe. The queen means hoe. We had queens. What queens then? What made the queen a hoe? You know, Mary Antoinette. Oh, you gonna say everything about one woman, all the other women's not hoes. So I know she can't have no queens in her temple. Because she said queen means hoe. Kendra said queen means hoe. So if you're with her and you're saying you're queen, you're a hoe. Uh-oh. Y'all have to stop. Think about the prophet's teaching and break it down. And you need to really, really do due diligence study. I be getting a lot of challenges from brothers and sisters that say, well, just answer this here. Page 3, it says, the prophet received these lessons, these secret lessons from the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine. I say, what are these lessons? Define these lessons to me. Define what the prophet brought to me. They stopped talking. I said, well, tell me everything else, but you can't tell me what these lessons are. One brother said, they're a secret. I said, it was a secret. Anytime you teach your most something about the prophet in-depthly, he gonna put it out there. He gonna screenshot it. He gonna shout it. Gonna put it in a magazine, draw pictures about everything. We can't keep nothing to ourselves. Don't y'all actually, I mean, I can't say actually because you really don't, most Moors don't. Moors, you're always gloomy. No, I'm not gloomy. I'm trying to get you ready for something that's yet to come. I'm trying to get y'all to realize there's a reason why Satan got the church from talking about hell and brimstone. You notice that there ain't no hell and brimstone in the church teaching no more. Right now, give me some money, they all as well. The prophet told you, if you do not follow my instructions, the worst is yet to come. So y'all think y'all doing all this other stuff, then what the prophet say? There ain't nobody here to still tell you the truth. Ain't nobody here to still tell you, brother, you're going to hell for that. Oh, brother, right here, hell's a state of mind. Well, you in a state of mind called hell. But on my charter, the prophet say standing before the fire. He ain't standing before his brain. On my charter, the prophet standing before the fire. He ain't standing before no brain. He ain't standing before no house. And according to the old doctrine, fire represents brimstone and fire. It represents hell to some people. Y'all not getting enough of the truth. But on Judgment Day, I'll be standing over there laughing my butt off, falling on the floor. I'll be looking at y'all, go to hell. Go burn up, burn them up, burn them up. Prophet say you're gonna burn up evil, rooting to. That's you. We've gotten so carnal minded, we don't even realize it anymore. Tell all these things, each thing that you're seeing build up upon another thing that attacks your mind. That's why they got some of y'all talking about I'm a white man. I got to change my political status so I have status. I'm a white man. Nah, Brother Rob. Brother, come out to me. Yeah, I'm a free white man. I thought the prophet said ain't no white man. Well, I'm talking about my political status. Well, Negro, I'm a Moor. I got political status. Me saying I'm Moorish is a political status. I just declared that I'm a nation. I declared the standards by which my forefathers lived. I declared the standard by which my Allah, my Father God Allah, raised me up a prophet. That is my political standard, my body of politics. You gonna say you're a free white man, but you ain't white. You nowhere near being a white man with your ugly butt. They're Europeans not as evil as us. The first devil is us. The first homosexual is us. We're the first at everything bad. We're the first to move on the block of the European neighbor and then get mad because they're throwing bricks at us and calling us niggas. But we're the first. But we're not the first in line to do good. Woo! Prophet came out and seen the Moor, and he asked the Moor, he said, children, how come you're always imitating the European bad? Why not as good? I can say that right now. Why y'all always imitating the European bad? Why not as good? Think about it. We got some beautiful brothers and sisters. And I don't want y'all to catch hell. And y'all having some beautiful children. When I be talking like this, it's not for me. It's not for you. It's for your children. Somebody got to be here to tell your children the truth. Because you're not telling your children. I want my child feeling hurt. I remember I was with George Cook, baby, and I just left his daughter's house, Queen Sheba, Bruce, baby. I said, Grandpa, she got a Christmas tree in the living room. When I asked her about the Christmas tree, she told me that her mama said she didn't want her to miss out on nothing. And he said almost the same thing and said, how the sisters are, brother. We went all the way to Chicago. We was up there visiting. And so we stopped in at 3810 South Wabash on a Sunday. We was up there. They knew we was coming, so we was sitting there. So we got through, we went to the back of the place, sitting in the little kitchen area. And the brother said, well, we got to go because you know how the sisters is, brother. How the sisters is? You talking to another head of another group and you rushing home because the sisters? Like this happened every week. But then they treat their own like that too. I heard the brother went over there and paid him $100. He came back from me and they gave him his $100 back. And they dying out. We seem to be dying out too over here. But we're not, brothers and sisters. Because there ain't a lot of us out here jumping up and down trying to do what everybody else is doing. I'm not caught up in an illusion. I've been by myself. I mean, by myself other than Allah. And I didn't give up. I've been by myself to a point I had to get operated on. I couldn't get no somebody come and get me to drive me home, I called the cab. I had to pay the cab to take me from San Francisco to Oakland. And I still didn't give up on Allah. Lost everything, still didn't give up on Allah. Then curse Allah because I made bad choices. Because I made bad choices. Rather pick a knucklehead sister or the sister pick a knucklehead brother, then everything wrong. Why you do that? Allah didn't do that, you did that. You either did it before you came in the temple, you did it while you was in the temple. But Allah warned you all the time. So, anybody on here?
One person.
Where?
Participate.
The no guys show me participation. That's 2. Okay. If you want to, you can unmute yourself, brother. You can talk. What do you think about Islam or more science versus Islamism? What's all this more science versus Islamism? Islam, brother, you want to speak? Okay.
Islam, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Islam, we rise giving praise to Allah. Islam, you can hear us?
Yes, sir.
We rise giving praise to Allah, honoring Allah in the person of our beloved Prophet, Abu Ali, and capping back and off all honors that have been given. Islam, Moors don't compare to Islamism. Like night and day.
So it's like night
we
and
say
day.
Islamism, it's like night and day. They don't compare. They're on 2 different extremes.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we got to keep everything in line with the Prophet. The Prophet said our religion was Islamism. It looks like ones have taken the title of the Moorish Temple of America and made that a measure of a list of living and or existing. But if we follow the Prophet and just think about the many things that he's told us, it's all about Islamism. It's all about Islamism. Because I would have to ask, from a more science perspective, well, how do we bring about the oneness of Allah and man through more science? How is that even possible? But Prophet Noble Ali, through Islamism, he gave us a methodology in which we could explore and implement into our everyday lives and actually be the truth that he said that we was. And that's Allah. That's Allah and man. We can actually exist on that perfect plane of existence that comes with the unification or the oneness with Allah. With more science, you don't see that. I mean, just look around the world. Just look around all the Moors they're streaming this more science thing. And then just look at them. Look at their lifestyle. Look at what it is that they got going on.
Mm.
And then don't compare it to what's being said, compare it to what the Prophet said and what he's doing. You know, even, that white measure is a more science measure. They call themselves scientists and they're trying to figure out a way to overdo what's already been done by the Prophet. See, more scientists believe that the Prophet's work isn't done, that it wasn't finished before he passed forward. When he laid this body down, it was finished. The Quran, the Holy Quran of Mecca, it tells us what the duty of a prophet is. Explicit. Prophet Noble Ali's task was done. He had done declared us a nation and gave us the religion that was necessary for us to continue on in that state. But upon him leaving, like most scientists, you know, if you want a real good explanation, a real good look of scientists, just think about Moses in the Bible. And every time he went on the mountaintop to go to that temple, what did his people do when he left? Even though he left somebody in charge with clear instructions.
Go on with it, Mo. That's a lesson.
He had already told them what to do and what not to do. Laid it out. And every time he went on to the mountaintop and came back down, they had fallen right back into the state which he was guiding them out of. They was adding to it. But they was adding to it based off of what they was practicing and based off of the ideas that they had prior to Moses, according to the Bible, and how he stood up.
That's cold.
When you can go into the scripture and see the fire, that's Islamism. I'm looking for scientists that can do that. And if he can do it, then that's a powerful thing. But just go and look at it, and it happened multiple times. It wasn't just a one-time thing. And it got so bad in their sciences that Moses had to create a ring of fire around himself to protect himself. That's how far they had went with their science. So now it's a stark difference between the two, Chief.
You just said a hell of a lesson. You just gave a lesson upon lesson, you know. That was a lesson. And everybody want to hear that lesson originally. To hear it originally, as you saying it originally, with the sounds with it originally, with the thought in it originally, they don't miss out on something. They didn't miss out on something. Woo, that was deep, no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because you talking about Moses. And Moses left somebody in charge, and that guy turned against him.
Go figure.
And the guy he didn't leave in charge was the guy that held fast. And then when he put that guy in charge, he held fast to the end. Moses' brother didn't hold for fast, but the brother, there wasn't no kin to him. Joshua learned everything and continued to lead on in victory was a ship. Pardon me. Man, that was a mean lesson. But, you know, we're going to go through some times, and Allah going to show the world that he's blessing us and he favors us, all of us. But one get blessed, we all going to get blessed. That's coming. I feel it. And all the naysayers, the backbiters and hypocrites, they don't see the glorification of Allah through us. Doesn't matter how it looks now. When you're telling the truth, holding on to the truth, teaching the truth, facilitating the growth and development of the truth amongst your people. No matter how it looks, you're going to win in the end. Point blank, period. So my tooth is killing me. I got a man. So, you want to say something?
I was listening to the Moor speaking, and he put the degree about Moses and the rebellion and the encampment. I said, that's the same with these so-called Moorish scientists. Because when Frankenstein created his monster, and then his monster started to overtake him, and he was afraid of his own creation. That's what's happening with these so-called groups of Moorish scientists. They start off, and then they have
Wait,
they
finish.
have a they have a disagreement within their groups and they split. They create a whole different idea, which is off the path. It's still off the path as the prophet is laid out. So it's a different idea all into itself. So you got all these different more scientist ideas all into themselves. And they cannot unify because one feels and holds his position higher than the next. So basically they create a different organization, a different statute. So with all of the so-called Moorish scientists, they haven't proven anything that they have to be true. It's kind of like the so-called cancer research. Many years that I've heard about cancer research, they still haven't found a cure. The prophet already brought us a cure, but unless they take it, they're going to continue to be ill. So, but I was just saying that's the way these so-called Moorish scientists have placed themselves in a peculiar position to the point where now they've run out of, as they call it, their allurement.
Well, everybody talking about charge because the devil's out there. See, if I had chicken that persona that they had, I would have 1,000 members of better. I would have 1,000 members of better. Because they're using that charge said, but charge lied to you. Cain, that temple said such and such. They lied to you. But because you haven't gave up your lower self, you only disguise who you are, pretending to be with your higher self. That's not working. And just watch what I say. I won't be here 30, 40 years from now, but watch what I say. Your children, those of y'all that's in y'all 40s and 30s now listening, watch what I say. Most of y'all ain't gonna be in the temple 20, 30 years from now. Y'all been gave up, went back to the church. Our Moses ain't nothing. We ain't got nothing. We can never do it. Because look who you following. Look who you invested your lifetime with. Look at your children who you're leaving under these people. You have no shame. No shame. Brother by the name of Noble Raheem Hill sent me some stuff about if I say blessing, he gonna send me $1,200, $1,500. So I said, let me go through this brother here. Brother told me, you got cash app, yeah? Well, you got, why I gotta send some money? You ain't what you see. Well, I can share with other people. I said, man, you gotta be ashamed of yourself. You call yourself a Mo and then put Noble in front of him. Ain't nothing noble about it. You know what he did? He erased me. He blocked me. He blocked me so fast. I mean, all you have to do is put the devil on the spot. Put the devil on the spot. And you become a bunch of mothers and all this here. Look. Now that's the real. Now somebody said they're the real. Now look at this Noble. All right, let me show you. Noble Fahim. It's no longer Noble, it's Noble Real now. The real Noble.
Changing up every day.
Yeah, he changed. I just wanted to see what your story gonna be. I just wanted after that, what you gonna say? He said the real, so that means he didn't say somebody that hacked this stuff.
You got saved up when it's desperate.
Yeah. Know what Teresa is. I mean, woo. What happened, Mo?
He put his face on.
Yeah.
And look at himself.
National Grand Chief Divine Minister Tahaka. And that man, they had changed his program 5 times since I know him. But like I said, you have really want this truth. You have really want this. But anyway, Allah's God knows. And I'm not Allah. But anyway, I want to say this here too. A person that I knew that I had brief dealing with loose association with a brother named Jerome Graham Bay. He was the head, he's the founder and head of the Federation Moorish Temple of America. I heard he passed. I want to give my condolences to his family, his members, those who believed in him and trusted him and walked in him. And I, Chief Minister, the Grand Ruler, the Mahdi say, may Allah be pleased with his good. We all don't have to agree with each other, but we have to recognize the good in each other. Sometimes we get caught up and we can't get away. But may Allah be pleased with that brother's good. Almighty. 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 So you want to close it out?